Community manager for Indiegogo. Why don't we just start off by going around the room? Everyone can just tell us who you are and a little bit about your company and your campaign. We'll go in the order that you're on my screen. So Christian can be first, and then we'll go
okay, all right.
to Lisa, Elad, and Patrice.
So polite.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Christian from KALEA. We are a company based in Germany, and we developed a fully automatic kitchen composter, which turns all kind of organic waste into real compost in only 48 hours. So KALEA is a smart and connected device. You can throw in basically all kind of organic waste, food scraps, even cooked food, dairy products, and the device turns it to compost into compost for you, easy, clean, and without any bad odors. And we launched the product via a crowdfunding campaign last October. And yeah, we're pretty excited that it was a very successful one with backers from all over the world and more than $500,000 in funding. And yeah, great to be here today. Thank you.
Great. Lisa.
Oh, hi, I'm Lisa Curtis, zooming in from Oakland, California, and I'm the founder and CEO of Kuli Kuli. So you can kind of see in my background here what we do. We sell products made with this sustainable superfood called moringa. So it's a plant that grows all over the tropics. And I started working with it when I was a Peace Corps volunteer and found that it was incredibly nutritious and had potential to really help a lot of the women in West Africa that I was working with. And they really wanted a way to sell it in the US. So I came back to the US and did an Indiegogo campaign to launch onto the market. It's been quite a while now. We've been on the market for 7 years, and we now sell our moringa powder, bars, and shots in about 11,000 stores across the US.
Great. Elad, you're next.
Yeah, hi, I'm Elad, CEO and founder of Tevaplanter, among other also sustainable and eco-friendly products, Le Fleur, Paris, where we have Bobo Bark and Bebe Bark, and Paper Wallet, which are artist design Tyvek wallets. And all of our products are, in general, what we focus on is we focus on the material. So every single one of our products is made from a unique material, and the material that we work with is the basis of the creation of our products. And we are always looking for new materials. And that material has to be eco-friendly and sustainable. And then the design process comes in. So once we have a material, we start to think what we can do with that material, or maybe we have an idea, and then the material and the design process takes over. And that's what we do, more or less.
Great. Patrice?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me, Angela. I really appreciate it. I'm excited to talk to you guys. My name is Patrice Jones. I'm an actor first and foremost. I'm also the co-founder and CEO of The One Movement. We are a reusable goods company, and we just launched our first product on Indiegogo called The One Bottle. And our goal was not to reinvent the wheel or reinvent the water bottle. We wanted to keep a nice, sleek and appealing design. We were more interested in telling stories that were attached to products and what happens at the end of life of products. So, you know, it's no secret now that single-use plastic is a big deal, and plastic water bottles are a huge part of that and have been a huge part of the narrative. So for every one bottle that we sell, we're able to remove the equivalent of 2,000 single-use plastic water bottles from ocean-bound waterways, and we actually reconstruct that plastic and compress it into construction materials and build houses for the homeless waste collectors who essentially collect trash from all around the world, currently based in Mangalore, India, and have several other bases that we're kind of looking to focus on in the future. But yeah, that's our goal, is to find ways to tell incredible stories about the people behind the scenes, and use products as a way to fund projects for good.
Great, thanks everyone. Our next question is, why did you launch your campaign? Where did the idea come from for your product? We can just keep going in the same order. So we'll start.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Yeah, so we had this idea coming from two directions, actually. So first direction, Organic waste, in our opinion, is a real hassle at home. I mean, probably you know it all. In summer, it stinks, it gets moldy, it could attract fruit flies. If you live in a city apartment, you have to take it down several floors. So all in all, a real hassle, and we wanted to have a more convenient solution for it. But yeah, and the second dimension is that organic waste could be a valuable resource, but how we handle it today from a global perspective makes it rather a problem. So 50% of the world's waste is organic waste, and this amount contributes almost 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. And this is when organic waste ends on landfills, and there organic waste creates methane, and methane is a greenhouse gas damaging the climate around 20 times more than CO2. And so our vision in mind was providing a more convenient solution for this waste handling at home, and at the same time providing also a sustainable solution by turning waste into something valuable again, into compost. And we launched the campaign to do kind of a product validation. So waste separation and also composting are big topics in Germany, but we were not sure. Is it also like a big topic in the world or from a global perspective? And so our goal was to introduce the concept, get in touch with people, and just to get feedback how good our product is, and if this is something for the whole world, basically.
Awesome. I can attest that organic waste stinks. I just took out, we had bin day yesterday and it was just everywhere. I know how bad it is. Yeah,
especially in summer. So yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I'm gonna need to get one of those too. Yeah, for me, I started Kuli Kuli, like I mentioned, in the Peace Corps. So I was a volunteer in a rural village in Niger, West Africa, and I'm a vegetarian and found that there was not a lot of healthy food for me to eat. I was basically eating like rice every day. And so started asking some of the women there, you know, what can I eat that will give me more nutrients, more energy? And they literally pulled these leaves off a tree. You can kind of see the leaves there, and mixed them into a popular West African snack called Kuli Kuli, and said, eat this, it'll make you feel better. And I had never heard of moringa before. I had never thought to eat tree leaves, but you know, trusted these women. And so I did it, and it made me feel so much better. And for me, you know, I wanted to find a way to support the women I was working with, and also introduce an entirely new, awesome superfood to the US market, because I think there's an incredible opportunity for us to create sustainable supply chains based on more unique crops. You know, a lot of the world sort of eats corn and wheat and soy, and there's so many other climate smart, highly nutritious plants out there that a lot of people just don't know about. So that's really Kuli Kuli's mission, is, you know, nourishing you, nourishing the world. How do we source them in a really sustainable way that's great for the communities, great for the environment, and then sell super nutritious products here in the US.
Cool. Very nice. It sounds, first of all, I have to try them. The packaging already makes it look delicious.
Oh, great.
With me, it's really different from each product, but I guess the underlining basis is, we like I said before, we start with the material, but we also look to the market, and we see where we can make, I guess, the biggest change. With Tevaplanter, the change that we wanted to make, or now it's actually Tevaplanter because we rebranded. But with Tevaplanter, the change that we wanted to make was, we took nature was our inspiration, and we saw that the way that we were growing plants at home was vastly different in some cases than how nature was growing plants. If you go out in nature and you see plants growing on rocks and plants growing on the trunks of trees and on decaying material and all of this stuff. So we said, okay, that's how it happens, and there's a whole ecosystem here. And the only way we know how to grow plants at home is stick it in a pot. You know, usually it's a plastic pot, sometimes it's ceramic pot, with a bunch of dirt. Why are we putting dirt in our homes? And water it and it'll grow. And that's the only way we know. So we said, okay, there has to be a new way. And it was a 3.5 year research process to get there. And we got there and it was amazing. And now we're in production and it's a really incredible product. And we're looking to revolutionize the way people will grow plants at home with this product and the products to come. On top of that, the other products were a little bit different. We have the other companies called LaFleur. We have Bebe Bark and Bobo Bark, which are two bags. They're women's handbags. So again, it's all about, they're made of cork material. So they're vegan, they're eco-friendly, they're sustainable. And our goal was not just to sell to the people who are already vegan and already not buying leather and, bags and accessories made out of dead animals, but how do we get the masses to convert without feeling like, without having to preach? And the idea there was really understanding the market, understanding the audience. So we did a little bit of surveys, and we surveyed vegan women. And we saw, one of the things that we saw that even vegan women were eating vegan, but they had a leather bag. So they were vegan, but they didn't care so much about the bag. And we realized that after interviewing them, what they cared about with their bag was that it was beautiful. So we said, okay, cool. So we'll make a vegan bag, but we won't preach that it's vegan. We'll just pitch, the whole sales pitch will be, it's a beautiful bag. And we'll create a beautiful bag and we'll design a beautiful bag and then we'll sell a beautiful bag. And then at the very end, if women like it, the cherry on the top of the cake is, by the way, it's vegan. So you're able to, I guess, touch more people who are not vegan and get them to purchase a product that is a vegan product, even though it wasn't even in their mindset to begin with.
That's really interesting. Do you think that, I know for a lot of people, they talk about their concerns around quality of products when it comes to non-vegan versions of leather, or, often, when people think of vegan leather, quote unquote, they think of plastic and, and it's notoriously terrible.
Exactly.
Did you find that you kind of had to defend the position of, it's not vegan, but it's as good as leather? Because I also feel like for a lot of the people who aren't already in a community or don't care about animal rights and these kinds of things, it's often harder to bridge that gap.
One of the things is, I'll take it back all the way to the material. The material is what's most important to us. Now, we could have made a plastic bag and called it vegan, but we didn't because we care. It needs to be sustainable. It needs to be eco-friendly. We use cork material because cork material it's not plastic. It's natural material. You don't have to kill the tree to get the cork material. You're actually helping the tree when you take the cork material off, because it's growing and breathing. And in 7 years, it has another whole wrapping of cork on it. And you get to harvest it again. So definitely. And I think that's one of the things that you have, these really big brands today that are pitching themselves as vegan, but at the same time, it's plastic. So the way that we work is a little bit differently, where we're saying, okay, we're starting with the material. Let's start with the material, because then we can be more holistic about our entire approach and it leads somewhere. By doing that also, and marketing to a wide audience, you can change, you can do more, you affect more, you hopefully will have a greater effect for the good.
Yeah, for sure. I also think it's kind of where the intersection of where ethics and sustainability come together, animal rights and is, I would say, inextricably linked to sustainability. We know that we can't treat animals the way we are and have a sustainable future. There's too many ways that they are linked together. So I just think it's an interesting kind of toss up when people go, oh, but it's vegan. You go, yeah, but is it better for the planet? Which, as a result, is it better for other animals? So there's a huge knock-on effect, and you kind of have to keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper. So that's really interesting. Okay, and on to me. So the initial impetus for the One Movement was I was actually working on set in Toronto, in Canada, shooting a show called Lock and Key, having worked on some previous shows in the South, and seeing the level of waste that was kind of being generated there, and a lot of going through 100,000 single-use plastic water bottles a season. For 130, 140 people, it's really not a lot of people. And and kind of became sick by it, just seeing the level of waste going out every day and knowing that none of it was being recycled. So I was trying to get my, pardon me, do apologize. Was trying to get my, my producers to switch to a better water source or just do things right, and quickly came to the understanding that if it wasn't commercially viable, they wouldn't do it. If it didn't meet the bottom line, if I couldn't beat their price, they wouldn't do it. So what I discovered was that you had to make it easier and more financially viable to do the right thing. And from kind of going through this state of like small sort of activism in the entertainment world, realizing that there was a bigger problem, and that was everybody's problem, is that everybody was being inconvenienced. So everybody wanted to make a difference, but they didn't really either know how to go about it, or they didn't want to have to sacrifice so much. So the goal was to make it easier for people to have a big impact, and that's where turning to creating products that actually had a story attached came about. Originally, the bottles was to populate film sets and allow them to have a better water source, and that translated into a brand that was consumer facing and was able to allow people to have a genuine impact through purchasing a product that would not only help them reduce their waste from an upstream perspective, because they wouldn't be buying plastic bottles, but would actually allow them to help, I don't want to say undo the damage they've already done, but help put a dent in some of the damage that has been done on the whole, because we're all responsible for single-use plastic, and everybody wants to do something about it, but often people don't know where to start. So our goal was just to make it easier for people to have a small impact, and then change the psychology behind why we buy products in the first place, because that's a big thing. We've gone through the last 100 years. We've shifted from a highly need-based society when it comes to our purchases to a want and desire-based society, and it wasn't an accident. There's been a lot of emphasis on breaking down the human psyche and preying upon our insecurities and the things that we care about most to get us to buy things to fill in those gaps, to rebuild our self-esteem, and that's what's led to the excessive overconsumption. It's buying things that we don't need, eating too much, eating the wrong things. So that was a big part of why we came to be, and we wanted to change the way people thought about the products they bought and why they bought them. So yeah.
I'm curious, you mentioned that you try to make it easier, more accessible. How do you compete with like plastic water bottles? They're so cheap.
Well, this is it. So this is the interesting thing. When it comes to film sets, that was the biggest thing. I had gone out to Just Water, the Jaden Smith's company, who aren't necessarily a solution to the problem, but I had got a big discount from them for large bulk orders, and tried to get them to at least purchase a better water source. They were purchasing Nestle water, so does it get much worse? So that I came to them with a solution, but I couldn't compete on price, and that was exactly the problem. And then we started calculating things like water coolers and how much easier it was to input a water cooler more frequently, and how much cheaper it would be if this was invested in. So it does come a point where you have to do a sufficient amount of investment into something before it pays dividends. And there also comes a point where we have to accept as customers and consumers that we have to inconvenience ourselves a little bit to do the right thing, which is a part of the why. You don't buy this because it's convenient, you buy it because it's the right thing to do. And then it will become easier the more people who decided to become involved with this kind of mentality, because the more services that will be implemented, because people want refillable water bottles. More companies will allow people to come and fill out their water bottle because it increases their footfall. So it all becomes linked, but I think these are the starting places and the stepping stones to getting to that point. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
How did you incorporate sustainability in your product idea?
So sustainability was quite a big topic for us right from the beginning, and Patrice, what you mentioned, it's really interesting because we also had a similar motivation in terms of, is there a need for certain products? And we just didn't want to create another consumer product. We really tried to create a product which also solves the problem from a global perspective. And yeah, I just mentioned before how big of a problem the current handling of organic waste and food waste is. And so this was a huge part of our motivation why we build a product at all. And yeah, we also try to incorporate sustainability during the whole process of the product engineering. For example, we put a lot of efforts in reducing the energy consumption, because yeah, obviously this is really a big topic. We try to select really long-lasting components that the product is the customer's happy with the product for quite a long time and doesn't have to throw it away after 2 years, like with many other consumer products. We also try to have an easy maintenance, or try to keep the maintenance requirements low, so that the customer can do it at home. And yeah, we are for sure not at 100%, but we try to incorporate the sustainability idea in general in every decision we take.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. So for us, we did a carbon audit a couple years ago, and looking at like where could we improve. And I think one of the things we initially thought is, we're importing sort of container loads of moringa from Uganda to California. Like that's a pretty big carbon usage. But we found it actually wasn't that. It was really about the packaging. And I think it's very interesting being in the consumer good world, because people use products and then they throw them away. And so we did a ton of research into compostable packaging. And one of the things that I found just like fascinating, and maybe Germany and Canada are better at this, but in the US, only about 4% of the population has access to industrial compost. And so the crazy thing to me is that, even if we made all of our pouches compostable, most of the time they would be thrown in the trash. And when they're thrown in the trash, they don't actually degrade as compost, they degrade as trash. And so you're not helping the system. And so we really did a lot of like research and trying to say, how do we fix this? Because we can't sort of change the US composting system overnight, although maybe, Christian, everybody needs to just buy your product.
I was about to mention it, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Nice plug there. And so what we ended up doing is actually making our pouches from recycled plastic. So we basically kind of took the consumer behavior aspect out of it, where you don't have to do anything differently. You don't have to like figure out how to compost it. You just buy it, and it's made with pre-recycled plastic. And so yeah, we just switched over about 80% of our product line to these like pre-recycled plastic pouches, and it's been really cool because we're estimating that we're saving somewhere around 200,000 water bottles a year, sort of the equivalent just from that change. So I think one of my lessons is that sometimes it's not always the thing you think it might be. Like for us, it wasn't the transportation, it was really the packaging, and the solution wasn't composting, it was recycled pouches.
Yeah, cool. We have a very similar story. So when it comes to sustainability with us, the product itself, like I said before, it's about the material that we use. So we're using eco-friendly material. If it's a paper wallet, it's Tyvek, which is made in part from post-consumer recycled plastic. Bobo bark and bebe bark, which are made from cork material, which is fully sustainable, and Tevaplanter, which is made of earth. Basically, it's 100% organic, natural material. But when it comes down to the packaging is a weak point for many companies, and it doesn't matter what you're buying. Packaging is usually the worst part of whatever it is from a sustainability aspect. And we do everything in our power to, packaging serves a solution. So we do everything in our power to find the packaging that will serve the solution for transporting the good, caring for the good, the whole, logistics from A to Z all the way to the consumer. And then have it have a second use, have it be recyclable, make it out of a material that can go back and be either reused or recycled. And that's what we do for all of our products. And from our research, and also we've done quite a lot looking for everything from recycled plastics that we were playing around with. In the end, we ended up with just craft paper, natural paper, and all of our packaging is made to be reused. And we even have like a text that we write on all of our packaging, which instructs our customers when they receive it, this is a box, you can use it for something. And if you're not going to use it for something, then make sure you recycle it because it can have a second life. So yeah, we're in line there. And that's our story of sustainability.
Nice. Yeah, so I guess for us, by the sounds of it, we're a little bit earlier in our process than most of you guys. We are not yet at the point where we have product in the warehouse. So we are going through that manufacturing process. So we are now in the process of figuring out where we've created the most negative impact when it comes to carbon footprint, water footprint, and what have you. So from an inception point of view, we decided to use no virgin plastics through the process, and actually use recycled silicone for our base, and our we have a kind of a strap around the middle, and the silicone seal is all made from recycled silicone. Our goal will be to get the steel content, the stainless steel content, up to as close to 100% recycled as possible. There's no doubt that when you use steel, it's not sustainable. You can't consider it a sustainable material as a raw material, at least. The great thing about it is that it's infinitely recyclable. So if used properly and either not discarded, or we are looking to do a send back program in the coming, I don't know when it will be, but that will be the goal, is to get back these materials to reuse into new products. So that's a big part of kind of how we're approaching it, but we haven't actually been able to make the calculations yet because we haven't delivered our product to our warehouse or to our customers yet. So that will be something that we stumble upon in the coming months. The same with our packaging. We actually just went through an interesting feat with my production partner. He discovered that our packaging actually had a plastic film on it that our manufacturer claimed wasn't on there. And so it was an interesting thing for us to go in, because it's so thin, it's nothing, but apparently even boxes that feel like they wouldn't have any plastic packaging on them actually do, because it allows them to bend at the corners without splitting and becoming all frayed. So we had explored other factories and tried to figure out if there was like an oil-based alternative that we could do to allow our cardboard box to bend without splitting the color, and it ended up not being worth it. So we decided to just go with a normal cardboard box and not do the coloring that we had originally set our sights on, and understood that it wasn't that beneficial in the first place. And you kind of have to ask yourself them questions going, is this really that valuable? Or is it something that you just got excited about and you thought looked really cool, and go, you know what, you don't need it. It doesn't bring that much value to the customer. It certainly doesn't bring any value to you. You can let certain things go. So going through that process has been a big part of incorporating sustainability into our products, is going, what's worth fighting for, and what's really not, because it was just something that wasn't worth fighting for. And I'm glad that we have a great production partner who was able to catch these things, because sometimes you never know what's going to happen. And it's an interesting thing to be learning about when you're working with other companies and you're not making your product specifically in your own factory in your own country. It's something you have to really be on top of as much as you can.
Great. And where are you now? Talk to us a little bit about your crowdfunding journey. Where are you at in the process now?
So yeah, we launched our campaign in October last year, little bit later than we wanted. So we originally planned to launch it in May, June last year, but like many other plans, yeah, our plan was also changed due Corona. So we worked on the whole topic for more than 2 years, or yeah, since right from the beginning, only from a technical way. So yeah, we put all our efforts in engineering, and we didn't have a website, we didn't have social media channels. Yeah, we went public, so to say, in beginning of last year, and wanted to prepare the whole campaign in 3 to 6 months, and then Corona came. That there was a hard time for us, but luckily everything turned out better than it expected. And so we had the crowdfunding campaign last October, and since then we are working on preparing our production. So at the moment we are on this step called design to manufacturing. So putting all our efforts into turning our prototypes into a serial design, and we also selected a production partner now, and working very closely with them to ship the first products by the end of the year to our backers.
Nice. I think we're kind of the old G in the room. Ours was way back in 2011. So it's been a bit of a journey for us. We actually did 2 campaigns. So we did one around the bars when we first launched onto the market, and for me it was a really amazing experience, because I had come back from Peace Corps, had never worked in food. I had never started a business before, and like every investor was like, this is never gonna work. And then launched a crowdfunding campaign, and it did really well and got a lot of momentum, and actually caught the eye of Whole Foods. And they were like, well, if you can sell this many bars online, maybe you can sell them in our stores. So that kind of started the whole journey of where we got. And then I can't even remember the dates anymore, but about 2 years after that, we ended up doing a second crowdfunding campaign around the shots you can see there. And that was really cool, because it was an opportunity that we had where basically we were approached by this Haitian nonprofit and the Clinton Foundation, and they said, hey, we've been doing all this research around how to reforest Haiti. And if you guys have ever seen like a map of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, it's really stark, the difference. The DR, still has most of its forest, and Haiti only has about 1% of the forest remaining. And so one of the things they said is that, we've had real issues where when we plant trees, often people need those trees for firewood, or they sell them to feed their families, and so the trees get chopped down pretty fast. And the cool thing about moringa is it's really fast growing. So unlike a mango tree where you're waiting literally years to see the fruits of your labor, moringa you can plant and then start harvesting the leaves within 3 months. So long story short, they had identified moringa as like, this is a cool plant, something we want to plant here. Can you work with us? And at the time we were just working with one small farming cooperative in Ghana. But we said, this is a really cool opportunity. We'd love to do something. Let's figure out how we can kind of bring this all to life. And so we did a crowdfunding campaign that was kind of a joint collaboration between us, Whole Foods Market, and the Clinton Foundation, and this nonprofit in Haiti. And then all of the proceeds, above kind of the physical product delivery, went to the nonprofit in Haiti to help them kick off their moringa production. So it was a really cool collaboration. Awesome. Thanks.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's great. And it brings even like the ingredients you need closer to you, right? So
No, being in North
from a sustainable
America.
perspective, cool.
Totally.
Definitely. So yeah, we're as well. I mean, the first business that we started was in 2007. So we beat year 2011.
Oh, you win. You're the OG.
The OG's OG.
Yeah.
Kickstarter, you beat us and Indiegogo. So like our first Kickstarter was another thing, and then we were on Indiegogo, I think, way after 2011. And you
I feel
definitely
like Kickstarter is a dirty word here.
yeah. Everybody's friend.
You might want to be careful. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Indiegogo. And on Indiegogo, our first campaign was well beyond your 2011. But where we are right now with our crowdfunding is so with Bobo Bark and Bebe Bark, we actually just shipped all of the backers. So the campaign was, it's still going on now, but we just shipped to everybody, and we're so happy to hear from backers that they're loving their perks and they're loving their bags, and it's amazing. And for Tevaplanter, I just spent the last 3 months in all over the world, like during Corona, going to production facilities, away from my family, trying to get things done. And it's really hard out there right now. Like you go to production facilities, it's not the same. I've been doing this for a very long time, and usually I'm traveling like 2 times a year to production facilities. But this time, because of the quarantines and all of this stuff, it was like 2 weeks quarantine here, 3 weeks quarantine there, and go here and go. It was a mess, but it was necessary. And we are producing Tevaplanter as well. So everything is good. It's really, it's so different than before. And I really hope that the world changes and goes to a place where we can, go and meet and be and do and work and fly and get back to normal, because this past year has been really hard. I mean, it's been good. People are buying on e-commerce. People are buying on Indiegogo. That's not the problem. The problem is that when you want to create a high quality product and you invested all of this time and energy, and now you're working with your manufacturers. I'm the type of guy that, I want to sleep on the factory floor. I want to see that things are being done perfectly and to my liking, so that at the end, my customers see that quality and everybody's happy. And usually, it's much easier, and this time it was harder, but we're there, and that's the good thing. It took 3 months, and it took the being away. We got there, and it was good, and we can't wait to ship. We can't wait to get it out into customers' hands and have some green in their houses.
That's awesome, man.
I hear
Congratulations.
Yeah,
I
we
you
launched
are.
a new product too, and it's a hard time. We had somebody had to quarantine in a like dumpy hotel next to the factory for 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
Brutal.
That sucks. I've done 4 weeks of quarantine whilst I've been in Toronto so far, so I know I know how brutal it is on the mind after a while. Sitting there by yourself.
I got my first shot, so hopefully I get my second, and then it'll be a little bit easier. There's still places I can't even go to. There are places where we're manufacturing, and I can't even get in because you need like a special Corona visa to get into certain countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's happening, yeah. Yeah, so for us, we are kind of a lot like you guys. We got slowed down heavily by Corona, like everybody else, but we've been moving forward strong. And we are right now at the point where we're just moving into mass production, just confirming our samples and making sure that everything is, everything's copacetic and in good order. And yeah, and then we will be delivering product in June. So that's kind of everything's moving towards that. And yeah, it's interesting because you guys have all previously launched products and stuff like that. So I guess you have other things sort of going on in that sense. For us, it's all been gearing towards this sort of singular thing. We were supposed to have delivery last month in March, and factory just couldn't meet the timelines, just based on Corona and workforce. So yeah, so we're just gearing up and getting ready to come out the gates with a with a big swing when we're able to. We are still on in demand at the moment. We're still selling on in demand, and just in the process of setting up our website and doing all the wireframe and stuff like that. And yeah, we're also just working on another project, which I think will be more relevant to probably the next question as to what's next for your company brand. But yeah, that's where we're at. We're just moving forward and trying to keep it. It's always an uphill battle at this point in the process when you're already early in your process as a startup. And yeah, we're very excited about June, July coming, and we can actually get out there and start just selling in a general e-com manner, and hopefully build some more houses. We built our first house. That's one thing I should have mentioned. We built our first house a few months ago, recycled plastic. We have a family of 5 living in there. It's 2 parents and 3 kids, and it has running water and electricity. And now the rest of the community has come around and said that they'd love to have one as well. So our goal is to complete our pilot scheme hopefully by the end of the year, and build the first 20 houses in Bangalore, India.
Oh,
That's super cool.
that's really cool.
What is
Thanks.
something that you've learned from your community through your process of launching your products?
Yeah, we learned a lot, basically. So first learning, I think I mentioned it before, was that composting, is a real global topic. So we were not sure about that, since we knew it's big in Germany, but yeah, we were not sure how big it is on a global level. And we were quite happy to see that. I think after 3 months, we had people from more than 70 countries on a wait list. So from east to west, that was really cool. And also before and during the campaign, I think you all experienced this, but we got hundreds of thousands messages with questions about the product, and that for us it was very helpful to see, because 80 or 90% of the questions were always the same, like, are there any bad odors? Does it have a silent operation? How much energy does the product needs? And so in that way, we really got our main requirements for the product confirmed. And for us, that's very helpful. That was very helpful that we knew, okay, we are on the right track with how we designed the product, could also incorporate all this feedback in the further product development. And we still try to keep our community very close to us. So a few weeks ago, for example, almost everyone on our team is German. So all the testing we do and did with like organic material, it's probably a typical German mix, but we were not sure like how or what does people throw in Italy or in the US or in Canada.
Americans with our hamburgers.
Yeah, exactly. So we were asking like about in social media and also in the Indiegogo community, what is kind of a typical waste composition in your country, and that was very interesting to see. And we're trying to include this in our test at the moment to make sure it fits also for every country. We have to work a lot on the Asian compositions. That's a bit challenging, but yeah, we really keep our community close and still learning every day from them.
I thought it'd be fun to change my background to the newest. So I think, I feel like, I'm just going to claim the OG card again. I don't know if I totally remember all the feedback from our community from like 10 years ago, but I will say we just launched a new product, which is this like superfood chocolate. And it was definitely a kind of COVID pivot for us. So normally, we're in 11,000 stores in the US. So normally we like launch a product, goes into retail nationwide kind of right away. And that normally works. And then, during COVID, like literally all of our retailers were so full of just like getting toilet paper and like pasta that they're like, we don't want to touch anything else. So we pivoted pretty hard and ended up doing like a digital first launch, where it was just kind of launching it on our website and testing it out. And it was amazing because we got really, really good feedback right away of like, okay, you know, here's like, I love this product because X. You know, like one of the things we thought was that, you know, it's a chocolate, and we thought maybe it'd be like an evening dessert. And actually what people were saying is like, no, this is like, it's, you know, low sugar, it's got these superfoods in it. They see it as like a during the day snack, or like a, you know, I've been on Zoom for like 5 hours, I like need a pick me up. And so we kind of pivoted the packaging around that. We also got really good feedback on some of the ingredients. Like, you know, we ended up adding more peanut butter because people were like, you know, if it's called peanut butter, I need to taste that peanut butter. And so that was it's just amazing to see how much you can get from your community. It's actually changed our whole strategy going forward. We're even, you know, post COVID, I can't wait till we can say that we are post COVID. We're going to do digital first launches because it's been so insightful to get those changes and make those changes before we then launch into retail. Because once you're in retail, it's way harder to make any changes after that.
Cool, you mesmerized me with your answer. I forgot what the question was.
What you learned from your community.
What you learned from your community, of course. Now I remember. Everything. I mean, you launch a product and you think you know, and you have no idea. Sometimes you know, sometimes you really have no idea. But I think that at the end of the day, you need to have, you know, your finger on the pulse, and the pulse is the community. With any product, it's basic marketing. You're selling a product to people. The community and Indiegogo provides you an ability to test. So basically you launch your idea with zero risk, or the risk of you actually launching, whatever that costs you, and seeing if your product and your business and your concept sticks to what? Sticks to your community. So if it doesn't, you at least probably, you know, hopefully have a few backers that you can communicate with, to that maybe, you know, you only got 100 backers and you needed 1,000. So that's fine, because now you have 100 people you can communicate with, and you can understand why they did back you and how it would be better and what you can do better. And if you do actually get to that 1,000 backers and you get to your goal and you have a healthy business, it doesn't mean it can't get better. The way that it can get better is by continuing to have your fingers on the pulse, listening to your community, understanding what they like and what they don't like and what you can change. And you know, in marketing, it's called product market fit. When you have a really good product market fit, that's when you have a healthy business. And that product market fit is dependent on you creating a good product, but then your customer accepting it. So you got it, you're creating it for them. You're not creating it for yourself. So it really is everything.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that you really do learn a lot from your community. One of the things that I've really taken away is not just from our backer community, but we had a heavy emphasis on, you know, finding ambassadors and people who really care about the story behind it, and just doing simple actions to make a difference. And funnily enough, we've been able to communicate a lot with them, and a lot of them became backers as well, and purchased the product, even though they were ambassadors and would maybe one day get the product for free. Decided to purchase the product and really support. And one of the things I've learned is that there are a lot of people out there who want to make a difference, but often don't know where to start. Even though there are so many tools out there, there's so many tools that people often don't know what to go with first. So the goal was always to make it be really approachable, and we decided to take a standpoint of being very inclusive of wherever you were at in your journey. Like no matter where you're getting on the train, we're all going to the same destination, and kind of bringing people along for the journey and going, if you are terrible with pollution and you waste a lot, this, that, and the other, you're also welcome as long as you have the fundamental understanding that you're here because you want to take a step. So a big part of our process was just learning what steps people wanted to take. You know, plastic water bottles is a very easy one for people to understand, and it's, you know, and I think that's part of why it's got a lot of the focus. But taking people through that journey and learning from them about what they want to learn about, and learning is going to be a big part of our business. You know, is taking people on this journey, understanding why they should, you know, buy a zero waste product or just use one they have at home. You know, it's not about just having funky reusables, but if it actually helps you to have that in order for you to waste less, then it can only be a good thing, as long as, you know, you can counteract the use of the materials versus single use. So that was something that we learned. We just learned that everybody really did want to do something. People often didn't know how to start, and one of our goals is educating people along that journey, and hopefully being able to give them products that will help them along that journey and make it easier for them to live a lower impact lifestyle.
I want to make sure we have time to get to some of the questions from our attendees, but I want to go through pretty quickly what's next for your brand.
Next for us is shipping our products, hopefully by the end of the year. So that's the main goal we are working on at the moment. We have ideas in mind, like for future product generations, but at the moment it's all organic production and delivery.
Next for us is just getting this super bark out there. So it's made with moringa and other sustainable, climate smart African superfoods like baobab and breadfruit and hibiscus. And honestly, it's like by far the most delicious product we've ever made. So I'm very excited to see where it goes.
So yeah, for us, it's 100% on production currently. And we're in production at different facilities with Tevaplanter. With Bobo Bark and Beba Bark, we just shipped, and most of the backers already received their perks. And we are planning out, we have another product that we've already created and designed. We're waiting for like the final prototype to come. Once it comes, we're going to be, you know, planning out that campaign. It's a product that we actually had ready before Corona, but because it's a travel product, we did not launch it. And now that, you know, now the time is to green button. So hopefully now we're going to be focusing on that. And with Paper Wallet as well, we have a product that everything kind of held still for Corona, and now that things are hopefully getting back to normal, we'll revamp the projects that we've been putting on hold.
Nice. So for us, again, yeah, the manufacturing side of things is our kind of top priority. Getting product delivered to our warehouse in California, and then distribution to our backers. One thing we are doing in the meantime, because I kind of felt like we had this period where, you know, we couldn't create all the impact that we wanted. So we're just about to launch something on Sunday called One Movement Changemakers, which is an activist fund for BIPOC activists to essentially get their ecological projects off the ground. So whether that is, you know, trying to help pass legislation and they need some leaflets, or they need, you know, they're trying to raise awareness for something. It was about looking at the intersection of environmentalism and racism, and how they've, you know, it's become a hot topic of conversation, and rightly so, because it's one of the deepest forms of racism and the one that goes most unseen, you know, particularly when it comes to geographically where the factories that make our products are located. At least in the US, I'm sure you can attest to some of that in Louisiana and Texas. And a lot of these places are, you know, Black and brown communities are filled with chemical plants and waste facilities and all these things that no one wants in the neighborhood, end up in the poorest neighborhoods.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
sorry,
So that
I
was
didn't cut you
yeah.
off.
So the fund was essentially to help activists get some projects off the ground. We'll run it on Sunday for the next 6 weeks, and then applicants can submit their project and what they want to get off the ground, and we will be choosing the winner in early June.
Great. So the first question we have from the gallery is, what were your biggest hurdles and how did you overcome them?
Same order again, or?
Anyone who wants to jump in, I think, can take that one.
So yeah, for us it was, no, go ahead, sorry. So
No,
first of all,
go ahead, Christian.
yeah, Patrice, please let me know about your campaign on Sunday. It sounds really great.
Yeah, for sure, I will do.
I'd love to be part of it. Keep it short. We had many challenges in terms of the engineering design process, but the latest one was postponing our campaign because of Corona, and at that time didn't know what's about to happen in the next month and how everything will work out then.
I'll keep mine quick. Introducing an unknown superfood, sourcing it from small farmers across the world. It's been many challenges on both kind of the brand awareness and the supply chain front.
Yeah, for us as well, it was supply chain. When it comes to working with unique materials, finding and it's unique materials, and then finding production partners that know how to work with those unique materials and create the product that you want to create. So sometimes it doesn't exist. Sometimes, you know, production partners are used to working with X, and now you're bringing them this brand new material they never worked with, and there's a learning curve there. And that learning curve is something that you need to basically just find the right partners that are willing to stick it out with you and take that learning curve with them.
Yeah, I think similarly for us, ours is less about using new materials that people aren't familiar with, and more so coming with an original design and working with metals. That's always tough. There's just certain things processes you have to go through. And initially our product was a little bit more complicated than it is now. And we decided to simplify it because there were certain aspects of the bottle that weren't working in the way that they should in order for us to fulfill like a really long lasting product. So we actually did away with our handle on our bottle. It became very complicated in a way that it didn't quite need to. And we decided to get rid of it because it wasn't providing the benefit that we would hope it would. And yeah, that was probably our biggest hurdle until we decided to just move on from it and incorporate it in a new way and potentially explore where, you know, like a sling or something like that made from, you know, a really sustainable biodegradable material. Yeah, that was probably our biggest hurdle other than COVID.
Other than COVID, right?
Right.
And then what did you find most challenging about marketing your campaign? How do you feel like you were able to leverage the Indiegogo platform to drive more traffic and hopefully more backers to your campaign page?
I'll go first with a challenge about our marketing. We came up against certain things about how to translate our story because our story is twofold. It's a product that obviously helps you reduce plastic. It's a simple water bottle, but we were also able to remove ocean-bound plastic. And then we were also doing something with that plastic. And it almost, for one, sounded a little bit too good to be true. That we were doing all these things just for, you know, the sale of a bottle. And the hard part was getting people to understand very quickly what it was what we were doing. When people call it a brain harpoon, something that really sticks in your head. So one of the challenges that we focused on is when we move on from Indiegogo and we go onto a straight up e-com play, what is the overall theme of the website that's going to make it really easy for people to understand? So that's a process that we're going through now, and we've had feedback around, you know, from people in marketing and people who just bought the product, who may have been a little bit confused about what happens. So that's a process for us to just go through and figure out exactly what translates to the customer and what they could see in 2 seconds and never forget again.
I think we're running out of time. I think that was a great answer. Thanks to everyone for attending and to all of our speakers for sharing their knowledge and experience with our viewers, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much, guys. It was a real pleasure to meet you all. Thank you.
Nice to meet
Bye.
you all.
Guys, take care. Be well.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.